Hey everybody, this is Colin with Connect the Watts, and today we're going to be discussing an in-depth tutorial, guide, and demo of Speediance. Now, I posted a review of Speediance earlier this week, so if you're looking for a more fast-paced, general idea of if I think this is good or what I think about it is bad, check that out. But this video is going to be for those of you who want a bit more in-depth information and really want to see how everything works and is used in real time. And so I'm going to take my time with this video to really show you everything and explain how everything works so that if you are interested in something like Speediance, you have a really good sense about what it is capable of and what it does and how it all works. So that said, let's get started. And you can see that this Speediance machine is really space efficient when it's upright and everything's folded up. So that is one of the benefits I discussed about this versus something like tonal, which has to be bolted to a wall, is this can move to anywhere in the room that you would like. And in fact, if we go down to the bottom, they actually have really small little wheels down here, so you can wheel this around if you would like to. Though the wheels are small, so if you're going through like a thick carpet or something, it's gonna be pretty difficult. You'll probably be needing to have two people to move this thing around. But on more solid ground, it's very easy to move. Now, in terms of like releasing this platform, there's a button right here. And all you need to do is press that button and this thing comes down. And if you saw the review, I discussed how that platform is relatively heavy and this button is really easy to press. And so I really suggest if you have kids or small animals that are near this machine, that you probably just want to leave this down permanently because it just comes down so fast and it is just so heavy that it would easily hurt somebody or a small child or a small pet if they accidentally or purposely hit that button. Now once it's down, there's these little locks here that you need to put in here to keep the platform locked into place. And it's important to do this because I didn't when I first got this, because the instruction book, I didn't really know that it was actually in English because the first half of it was in like Chinese. So I didn't read the instruction book and I didn't realize you had to do that. And if you don't do that and you start lifting on the weights, this whole platform will come down on you. And that did happen to me. It wasn't a big deal, but you probably want to read the instructions on these things before you get started. So once that's locked into place, this thing is safe to lift on, and you can just turn the screen on by tapping it like that. Now, the internet usually works pretty well on this. So now we're all set up on it. You can have up to like 5 profiles on Speediance, so they'll record all of the weights and everything separately. And they have various modes to go through. So like you can kind of see on the front page, there's like recommended workouts and everything. You can search through all of those workouts here, and you can go through like recommended or strength, cardio, sport specific, a quick fit, shaping, get fit, hybrid, stretching, and some activation stuff. And there's a lot of options to choose from on these workouts, and they range anywhere from like 5 to 10 minute, just really quick sessions, to like 45-minute full body workouts. And I've seen some that are even a little bit longer than that. Alternatively to just picking a workout, you can create your own with like the template thing, and I'll show you how that works. You can also just select free lift and just get right into lifting however you would like to. And I'm gonna turn the volume down on this stuff for now. And then they have full-on programs. So I've noticed they've been adding around 1 full program per week. And these programs last anywhere from like 2 to 6 or more weeks in length, and they range anywhere from 2 to 6 times per week. And you can kind of sort them by how many weeks in length they are, or by the difficulty, or what the focus is on. And if you click on one of these, you can kind of see this a little bit more in depth. Like you can create a schedule. So on day 1, you'd be doing this superset back workout. Day 2, superset chest day. Day 3, superset shoulder day. Day 4, arm day. Day 5, leg day. So that's just this specific split for this specific program. And it builds upon that week per week. And you can check this all out in advance. So if I click check, it'll load up that particular workout, and we will check this whole program out. So it'll show you kind of what that program focuses on, estimated duration, estimated total volume, and calorie burn. And you can see like the full program, including your suggested weights and reps right here. So you can really kind of just see everything in advance to make sure this program or this workout is going to be the best fit for you on that particular day. So, and again, they have lots of different ones to choose from. Again, alternatively, you can select movement. And this is what I did a lot and what I sort of prefer to do, especially since I like adjusting things day to day on my own program, is I'll just select a movement. So I'll go through here, or I'll filter it by, like, let's say I want to do squats. I can find it pretty easy by hitting on quads, and I can find variations of barbell and other types of lunges and squats. And so you can just click on a movement. Let's just do a back squat here. And if you're new to the movement, it'll show you some like details about like how to do the movement and some key things to focus on. There's also a demo video for each movement, so you can kind of get a sense of what it is. And then if you press start, you can select your starting weight. So the pounds is either set up for double cable or single cable. So because this is a barbell movement, it'll say double cable, which means the weight of the two cables are combined. So when I select 125 pounds, it's really half of that on each of these, but because they're all both on one barbell, it'll be 125 pounds. And I'll show that later on. You can select the number of sets, how many reps you would like to do, and how long of a rest you'd like to have between intervals. So when you're ready, you can select go, and you can hear that it'll instruct you with audio cues. There's also background music, but it's like the same song. It's this song over and over again forever. So you'll probably want to just turn that off eventually and just have your own music. I'm gonna have all of that off for now. And then from here, you can select which weight you would like. So if you want to do some like warm-up sets or whatever, you can turn that on. And then you can turn the weight on with this button here, or alternatively, if you have like the smart accessory package, so, and I'll go into that next, you can go into like the smart barbell attachment or the smart handles. You can turn the weight on with those rather than the screen. And for some movements, you definitely need to do that. So squatting, for example, it's not really going to be safe for you to be squatting and then somehow reach and turn the weight on with the screen and then grab the bar before it gets too heavy. So it's much better and much safer to use the smart accessories. Alternatively, other movements, it's not really a big deal. Like if I was going to do like rows or something, I could turn the weight on and start doing some rows, and you don't really need to have the smart weight accessories for that. So that said, let's kind of discuss some of these accessories. So there's a basic package for Speediance, and then there's an additional smart accessories package. So when you order Speediance, it comes with a bench press. It comes with 2 regular handles that you can clip in. And these are the smart handles, by the way, so these are a little bit different. And it comes with 1 barbell adjustment as well. And there's a smart attachment on here. It doesn't come with that. So that's, it also comes with these little hooks to be able to use as a squat rack for like the barbell and everything. So the barbell itself is pretty nice. It is a pretty heavy knurling. So if you like a lot of knurling, you'll like this. It's not too overboard, but it is a little bit more than like a regular Rogue barbell bar would be if you have used those before. The handles are fine. They're just gonna be regular handles. And if you bump up to that smart accessories package, they'll come with these smart handles. So you have batteries in here, and these are Bluetooth. So if you press this button, it'll turn on the weight or turn off the weight depending on what you wanna do. Also in the smart accessories package is this little controller here. And you just slide this on the barbell and you can push start, stop, add weight, or take away weight on this controller. And so even if it's on your back, you can have this controller like right here within thumb's reach. And it's pretty easy to use for most movements. The smart package accessory also comes with like a rope attachment, which you can use, as well as these ski handles. And the ski handles for like this skiing type of movement, if you've ever done like a ski erg. And it's pretty decent. It's not as fast paced or cardio like a ski erg typically is. It's a little bit more strength oriented because the resistance is a bit stronger and you have to return it a little bit more controlled. And these handles aren't my favorite. They're just made out of light plastic, and the problem with that is it gets a little bit sweaty when you're going hard and you're doing a lot of skiing, compared to other handles like from this ski erg. They're made out of like rubber, so it's a little bit easy to hold on to. So that's those. Let's go ahead and I'm going to demo just attaching these and going through movement with the handle so you can get a sense of this stuff. So we're going to push pause. We're going to exit this barbell back squat, and instead we're going to change the filter to pecs. So we'll do some kind of presses or something. So dual handle standing press. So I can click on that. I can click on start. I'll make it pretty light because I want to just kind of show you some of this stuff. Cool. So now it's loading up. So you just basically, on these, you just press the little button on top of the ball and slide them in. So it's really easy to put these attachments in and out. So that's all that you need. And to lower them, you just slide this thing down. So I pull this, I'm gonna slide it down here, slide it down here. So relatively easy. And the other thing I want to mention down here, you'll be able to see this, let me go down farther. You'll be able to see this platform, and this is angled so you can kind of drive your foot against it as you're doing things like presses so that you're balanced and that you don't like fall over. So I'll take this one, and when I'm ready, I'll push one of these buttons on the handles to turn the weight on and be able to start my set. So I'm gonna hold that. Now I can feel the weight being loaded, and then I can start doing it. And if I had the sound on, you would hear little beeps or little sounds to confirm that I'm doing each rep. And if you can see the screen, you'll be able to see the reps going up. You'll be able to see the left and right sort of range of motion gauge, and that'll show you that too. And when I'm done with the set, I have it set up so the weight automatically turns off like it did now, and it's going into a break period between sets. Now, if you want to extend that break, you can just push extend 15 seconds. Or if you just want to go into the next set faster, you can just push next set. And you would just continue on doing these sets. I'm going to do just 2 quick sets right here. I turn the weight on from the screen so you can see how it'll be. So it's not as easy to use without the smart handles, but it still works fine for a lot of movements. If you don't want to get that smart accessory package right away, it's not going to be the end of the world for a good number of the movements. Okay, and that's also, so that last rep I had done an extra reps with the weight turned off. That's why it's usually good to have the sound on a little bit. So don't like the voice guidance, even if you find it a little annoying, you probably want it on just so you can hear like your reps. Okay, so I'm gonna do another set. So this set, you'll be able to hear the voice being activated. So you can hear that little beep after every rep to confirm that's there. And the voice saying last 3, so I know how many there are left to do. And a little bell to indicate I'm done. So you probably want to leave that sound on, especially if you're not facing the screen or if you're not paying attention to how many reps you're doing. So you can do this machine movement by movement just like that. Or like I mentioned, you can choose a workout or a program to do, and it's essentially gonna be that exact same thing. It just will go through really specific movements and reps. There's no coach classes or anything like that yet on Speediance, so you're not gonna get somebody telling you, specific stuff, though they do have that voice giving you cues for each movement. So if you're looking for something like, a Peloton type class or an entertainment type class, you're probably not gonna like the Speediance setup as of right now with what they offer. But if you're somebody like me who doesn't really want to listen to a ton of coaching while you work out, you just want to have a solid program laid out for you that you can follow along to and that's convenient, then it's probably going to be a pretty good fit. Now, in free lift, I'm going to show you some options too that are available on some movements but not others. So in free lift, you can really have full control over everything. The downside of using free lift is that you don't really have any particular movement tracked. So if you're doing, rows or squats or whatever it is, what you do weight-wise for that movement isn't going to be tracked by Speediance for that particular movement. So the weights that you end up doing won't end up changing the weights that are suggested for Speediance in the future. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Now, here, there's 4 different dynamic weight options. You have standard, which is pretty much feels like lifting just regular weights. You have chain, and what chain does is it tries to simulate the effect of having chains, like if you were to lift with chains on like a barbell or anything. And what that essentially does, like for example on like a deadlift, is imagine chains are on the ground, they're not gonna really weigh anything. And as you pull the weight up, more of the chain is gonna be off the ground as you stand up, so the load will get heavier as you stand up all the way. So this does that with the movement. So the more you press or pull up the barbell or handles away from the machine, the heavier the load gets. And so you can control both the weight and the chain weight here. So if I want the maximum chain weight to be 40 pounds, that's the max I can do, or I can set to wherever I would like to have the desired effect of whatever I'm looking for. The other dynamic weight option is eccentric mode. It's similar to the chains, but kind of in the opposite way. So it basically, instead of it getting heavier as you get farther away from the machine, it's actually heavier as you get closer to the machine. So imagine doing that same deadlift, right? And so instead of it getting heavier as you stand up, it's actually going to get heavier as you go back down. So that's just another alternative way to add some different types of weight programming into your workouts. Then there's constant, and what constant does is it doesn't have like a weight. Like there's no weight options with constant. It's always just based on speed. So it'll provide enough resistance to keep your speed constant. So if I want really slow or really fast, I can control that here. And so if I pull it slowly, it's not going to provide much resistance because I'm pulling at the correct speed. But if I try to pull it faster, it'll add more weight to keep that speed constant throughout the full range of motion. So that's something you would typically see more in physical therapy type movements or accessory type movements. It does have its place. You probably wouldn't use it very often unless you have a specific reason why, but it's kind of cool that it's there. Now, under accessories, again, you can choose dumbbell or barbell, and the difference here is that when you have barbell selected, it'll adjust them as one load. Okay. That goes into my thing about safety. So Speediance is really good in a lot of ways, but it still needs to be a lot better in terms of just general safety, because I must have accidentally turned the weight on and some reason this thing wasn't locked in all the way. So stuff like that sort of happens on occasion on this. I've never seen that actually happen ever before. But like I mentioned, with the platform coming down really fast, the other big issue is with this platform, when you have a barbell on there, and maybe I'll show that down the road, but if not, you can see in the review, there's no space between this barbell and it coming down and hitting your toes. So if you have like 200 pounds on this barbell and it just slips out of your fingers, it's not gonna be able to slow down fast enough before it hits your feet. And it could really, like, I don't know if you would be super, super injured, but you would be hurting. That would not be a fun thing. So there are things I wish that they would implement on Speediance to make it a little bit safer. And they have been updating the firmware every week or so with some updates to improve it. I just hope that they continue doing that because I really like the machine. I really like a lot of the aspects of the machine. But the one thing I really don't like about it is it feels a little sketchy to use at times. And because of that barbell with no protection on it and no really easy way to get it off your back, for example, if for some reason, like the digital controller stopped working. I don't feel super comfortable using Speediance for really heavy weightlifting, for barbell or for vertical barbell movements. So things like deadlifts, things like bench pressing, and things like back squatting. If I'm doing bench pressing or squatting or any of that stuff with the handles, I feel completely safe and fine. But with the barbell, because there's no protection and because of some of the weird things with Speediance, I just don't feel entirely confident to say like that's a good thing you should do. If you're doing for a lot of reps and lighter weights, probably okay. But if you're going heavy for yourself, I don't know if I would suggest that until I've seen better safety features from Speediance. Now, there are a few other modes I did want to show in this thing. And just to go back to what I was talking about, there's accessories for dumbbell and barbell. The difference is the loading. So if I select barbell or dumbbell, the loading will go up to 110 pounds because that's the max per arm. If I go to barbell, it'll combine the two together, so it'll go up to 220 pounds as the max. So that's kind of like how that's set up. There's other preferences here too. So spotter mode, what spotter mode does is if you're lifting a weight and you can't finish a set like you're struggling to, Speediance will lower the weight slightly so that way you can finish the rep, just as if you were like doing a movement and somebody was helping you, spot you to finish that rep. So you can have that mode on if you would like to. You can have partner mode on. What partner mode on allows you to do is to control each of these weights separately. So I can control this weight to 40 pounds and this 13 pounds. And that way I could work out theoretically with somebody. They could be doing one movement with that cable and I could be doing a movement with this cable. I don't know if that's like the best way for a partner mode. I'd rather it be like a button that you push when you're done with a set, and that way the next person could start their set, but with both of them. There's not a lot of movements that I do just with a single one, especially with two people having to share a platform back and forth. But it's cool that they're innovative in adding these things because this was added just relatively recently. And I hope that they continue, playing around and seeing what works and doesn't work with this machine. There's also an option to flip the display. So if you click that, the display goes upside down. And the reason you want that is if you're doing movements like barbell hip thrusts or bench pressing, well, this screen can rotate downward. So you can look up and be able to see your reps and sets or whatever it is you want to see on the screen. And even on the bench press, you might be able to kind of tap it as well when it's in that position. So that's a nice little feature that they have there. And now let's talk a little bit about these custom workouts. These custom workouts, here's one that I made, and you can click on it and you can see all the details of the different movements and reps and everything. And you can edit it as well from here or just start it. If you want to create your new one, you just push the plus. And I like the fact that they have the custom workout here. You can also do this on the app that they have on your phone or tablet. I like that they have it. I don't really like how it's set up because before you pick your sets or reps or anything, you have to select all of the movements that you're going to be including in your workout first. And so once you select all of the movements you want, then you can adjust them here. And I don't know exactly either like how to move one movement down over the other. So you kind of have to select them in the order that you want them to appear. There's also no way as of now to superset them. And they also make you enter your own weight. Like you don't even have the option to not enter weight. You have to enter a weight for each movement, which I don't like because I think Speediance it knows what I need to lift for each movement. So I wish it would just fill it in for me and ask me if I want to change it and then adjust it over time. But it's not the case here. So let's just say I want to do 10 reps and I want a 1 minute or 100-second rest between intervals. Once I create a set, you can create multiple sets pretty easily. But again, there's just no real way to superset or adjust things super easily. And so, again, hopefully it's something that they'll improve on over time. The next thing I want to show you is the strength assessment. So what the strength assessment does is it gives you 6 different options to choose from, and or 6 different assessments to do. And these assessments, I'll start one to kind of show you. These assessments, once you complete them, it'll update like a ton of the movements, like 10, 20, 30 different movements that are associated with that movement pattern. And they'll kind of guesstimate what you should be lifting in those movements based on how you do here. And it works pretty well. It gets you in the right ballpark for most of the movements. And then as you do each of those movements in various workouts, it'll further kind of refine and update its suggestions. So when you start an assessment, and you can redo assessments at any time, it takes you through a warm-up. I'll push start. It'll take you through a warm-up. It'll go through some warm-up sets, and then it'll just progressively get heavier and heavier and heavier. And then they do have some rest intervals between every so often. As it gets heavier, it'll actually provide more rest intervals more often. So it's better at assessing your actual strength. And this update is actually brand new. Like when I made that review, the assessment process was much different. It just had you continually lift until you basically failed. There was no none of this was here. There was not much of a warm up. There was no rests between some of the intervals. So it wasn't nearly as good as it is here. I like this much better because I didn't like doing it was like 5 reps per weight. And so by the time I finished my back squat assessment, I had done 40 reps or something like that without any kind of break. And so that's not always the best way to assess your overall strength. This seems much, much better. So I'm gonna turn this off because I'm not gonna do the full back assessment. It is something that you kind of want to get warmed up and ready for. And so that's really, for the most part, what I wanted to talk about and allow you to see with Speediance. I think also it's really nice that a lot of these features aren't going to require a membership. In fact, the membership that's here is free until 2024, at which point they say they are going to charge $29 per month. But that's over a year from now, so don't quote me on that if things change, but that's what they are saying at this point. They're also saying, which I really like, that the majority of the functionality of this machine is going to stay free regardless if you keep your subscription or not. So the free lift mode, the being able to create your custom workouts, being able to select movements one by one, and having all those dynamic options are all going to still be available, whereas on some other machines, a lot of that is just taken away completely. So really think that's a good idea for them to be able to provide that without that subscription. What the subscription covers really is all of the programs and workouts, and they are designed pretty well. If I didn't have programs that I wrote continually for myself and knew exactly what I wanted to do, I would want something to follow along to, and they do a really good job of providing a lot of options for you to follow along to. So I think their subscription down the road will probably be worth it. And I do know they're working to add in live classes and other type of options as well. But again, that type of stuff is not available yet on this machine. So like I said in my review, if you're looking for something that is super compact, that you're gonna be able to lift a lot of different weights with, it's a good option. However, that said, it's not the safest option and it's not the most coached option. So I don't think it's probably the best idea if you're just brand new to lifting to jump into this thing. If you have more of an idea about what you're doing and how to lift weights safely and are comfortable if things seem a little off, you're gonna be able to recognize that it's a little off and stop everything and make sure this machine's working right, then I would suggest it. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. And let me know if this was useful to you or not. If you would like me to do this with other fitness devices or other products that we review at Connect the Watts, I'd be more than happy to. All right, thanks so much. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next time.